Hi, today we are going to look at market trends for Pacific Palisades. The I looked at all the sales from November 1st, 2017 to November 1st, 2018, all standard sales, and I exported that as a CSV file. Actually, that gave us 201 sales in the last year. I exported that to CSV and put it in Excel. Then we sorted it by oldest to newest, so we can get a kind of a time line on it. And then I copied the close price and the price per square foot over to this column because we don't want to do anything to the actual data, but Excel will give us an auto-calculated trend. Let's see if we can do it to both. Tell me what you want to do, and we want to fill the series. We want to select trend and see what happens. And yeah, it trended both columns. Okay, so wow, it's definitely a slightly negative trend, but not much. So let's calculate the rate. All right, so on a sale price, we had an average of 4.731 million down to a 4.177 million. So let's calculate that. So that equals the last date, or the last trend by the first trend minus 1 gives us a negative 11%, 11.7%. And then we can copy that same formula over to the next column, and that tells us in terms of sale price per square foot, which is probably a more accurate measure, negative 6.28. So in light of holidays, in light of rising interest rate, a little over 6% decline is not very great. We can also chart this. So let's highlight the column, and we will insert a line graph. Oh, and we got some real high points. Visually, it looks pretty stable, which would be consistent with a 6 to 11% decline. So we want to add the dates, the sale dates to it. So let's select that axis. We're going to highlight the date column and say OK and say OK. Great. So now let's right click on the data and add a trend line. And we'll use a linear one, but let's make it red and make sure it's solid. Okay, so it's slightly down. These high points, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 really high sales. We could probably take those out and normalize the data, but I'm not going to do that right now. So that's sale price. So now let's go back and do sale price per square foot. So we highlight the column, we select Insert, grab a line graph, and again, very similar, kind of straight with a slight downward axis. Let's add the dates. So we're going to edit, highlight the date column, and enter and say OK, and that gives us dates. So we'll right click on the data, add the trend line, make sure it's red so we can see it, and same thing. So we got two charts that slight downward trend but fairly stable on a percentage basis. Okay, we can also look at sale price per, or list price to sale price discount. And so let's graph it. So what I did was I just subtracted the sale price from the list price and figured out what percentage that was to come up with a percent of list price discount, or what the sale price was. So we will graph this and chart this, insert, put a line graph on it, and again, pretty stable. Let's add the dates. And add a trend line. And that's flat as a pancake. So we're not seeing a big decrease in the, or a widening of the gap between sale price and list price. We can also look at days on market. Let's graph that, see what's happening there. Oops. Wasn't right. Let's go back. So we'll highlight the column. We will insert a graph. Put it over here. Let's add the dates. Save it. Ah, boy, pretty flat. We could add a trend line. Yeah, not much change. So I'm going to say it's a pretty stable market, considering